I'm alive. Sorry, I was trying to sort the lighting. Terrible, isn't it? It's just a really poor webcam. It's extreme to extreme at the moment. It's either washed out or totally contrast, but this is the best I've got, and this will have to do. You can still see me. It's not 4K, it's not VR, but it works. If you've seen any of the latest live streams, you'd know that I've got to a place within my development, shall we say, of living life with everything I've been taught, to be able to see my life in a very specific way. And this live stream is really helping me already, so thank you for any viewers that are tuning in. But a lot of very, very catered, how can I put it, education, one that's been specific to my own nature, one that really and truly I would have chosen above all else given how my life panned out. So we're talking about my uncle, who I'm blessed to have had as my uncle given his spiritual awareness in this world. I'm talking about a few other close teachers and a few that I've had at a distance. And it's all been spiritual. You know, I've eaten spirituality since I was about 20. And with spirituality, you make what you want. But the way I found it at such a young age, but an impressionable age, it's made me. And at its core, there are a few things, and it's very simple. It's health, love, and everything, the beauty that spirituality represents. And that's not the right language for me to be using right now, but I don't quite know how else to put it, because I was going to say the desire for everything that spirituality has as a potential. So what we're talking about is Atlantis. And with Atlantis, you know, you read the stories, you hear the stories, and it boggles the mind how it was ever possible that humanity were able to achieve that. I'm not going to get too far into spirituality on this live stream. It's going to be it's created my life, I guess. I mean, my mind's gone blank of what I was hoping to say, but the truth is, and I'm sorry I keep going down in tone with my voice. It's just my mental health keeps sending it up, so I have to bring it back down, and it doesn't sound pleasant, but you're going to have to live life to live in hell. But despite all of that input, education, where I've ended up is in a horrible place. If I could go back now and choose a different path, it would kill me to have to let go of spirituality, but there's no way I could choose. All the input I've had, which has been positive, I see it as, it's allowed me to see my existence in a certain way. I guess if I wasn't going to be spiritual in this life, what I loved still to a certain extent, I'd probably have become a designer. I'd be working for the UK equivalent of Apple or something as a kid. But I've been on this path now for quite a while. And where I've ended up is with the ability to see my life in a very specific idea of the paralleled lives. Me having gone down the conventional path, and instead of being this person that goes from place to place, job to job, and when I say job to job, I mean I've had so many different types of job, and I know I could have really achieved, high management position in any of those jobs if I. No, not if I. That's just my nature. I set my mind to something and I go and conquer. But the emptiness that it would have left inside of me is a soulless person. I would have had a massive hole in me, and to some extent I've been a healer, and that's been at the background of all my spiritual learning, with the perception on spirituality, with the idea of healing, and it is fundamental. And I've managed to clear a lot of baggage. So that's a real positive. But in irony, let's say I went down the path of being a designer and I still went to the gym. I wasn't quite as educated in terms of health and terms of energy and body and posture, conscious of doing something, whether it be for ego or for my body. And it's really hard to make this live stream because, and this is what I'm going to lead up to, but essentially my mental health is having a field day at the moment, because what I'm talking about right now is having a center of sorts. Whilst I'm matched for the first time, I've been meaning to do it for the longest time, and it hasn't happened. So hopefully that'll do my lungs some good. I've done a lot of healing, and with that healing, I can see myself. I can to such a greater level of degree than I could ever have imagined I would have ever had the opportunity to know myself at. And it gives me the ability of strength, seemingly, to be seen. Because where I find myself right now is a case of, again, I just want to create a paralleled reality of my life. If I've gone down the conventional route and become a designer, for instance, right now I'd have been 36. I'd probably have a children, probably have been married once, twice, 3 times like Ross from Friends. Maybe still in a relationship, maybe not. That in that place, I wouldn't know myself. I wouldn't know my body. I wouldn't know my suffering. I'd know suffering. I'd know there was something wrong in my life. But that's pretty much as far as it would go. Whereas now, after going through very, very traumatic periods of emotional turmoil, and not only emotional turmoil, but really pushing the boundaries of what it means to exist. We're talking about times of severe darkness, the dark night of the soul. I can't remember his book, but I can't remember his name. I've not, and I've been through that. Time was, in irony, almost like Thoth, the journey of Thoth. It was a fight. It was brutal. It was bloody. It was gory. It was so intense in pressure. It would leave a scar on me for many lifetimes. Whereas now we're talking about time, or Tome, who's meant to be the father of Thoth. And what it is a slow grinding process on the soul, one where it's different from the first time, and there's a wanting. They're both worse in their own way. What I'm getting at is either, regardless, I'm seeing my body, I'm seeing my mind, I'm seeing my emotions, my energy, my life, love. I'm seeing relationships, the real building blocks of life, as clearly as I could ever have imagined. And I don't quite know how, but the more you go down that path, the stronger you are to a certain extent, because you're healing yourself all the way. But at the same time, life is taking its toll on you with the challenges that you have to go through in that healing process, because I say healing, but sometimes to heal, you have to hurt. Sometimes you have to scar. Sometimes you have to cut yourself to grow. When you break a bone, the bone grows back stronger. It's that sort of idea. So I've broken many bones in this analogy. My bones have grown back stronger. But to break a bone, you also experience stress. And that takes a toll. That takes a toll on the mind, the soul, nervous system, definitely. And what happens is like, for all the healing that's happening, there is as much brutality and scarring taking place at the same time. And where I find myself now, you can't call it. You can't call it which would be better, to have gone the conventional route and having like a missing center, but have lived a life that was valued by the rest of the world. So in other words, having children, having a house, having relationships, marriages, money, from a decent employment where you're getting a decent income from. And as I said, I know myself, if I'd have gone into whatever role I would have gone into, I would have at least got to the role of management somewhere up the tree. So I would have had a half decent income. And in this world, that means a lot. I would have been empty inside. Whereas now, I might not be so empty as I would have on that journey, but the scars to heal, the emptiness, you can't split those two lives apart. Ultimately, the world is spiritual, so it makes sense from that perspective alone that this is the best way to come. But in terms of ultimate experience and achievement, in terms of pain and love, joy and sadness, there's nothing to split them. What's happened is I've gone along this road, and the weirdest thing is happening as you grow, as you're aware, as you're applying more and more consciousness to your life and experiencing the challenges of life, and you're almost doing less than you otherwise would, because you know yourself within the action. And for that reason, you stop a lot sooner. So, how can I put it? Problems are from, I know exercise should do something in that direction of making things better. And there are many reasons why I'm not able to exercise at the moment. And one of the main ones is a case of it's beyond my control. In other words, if I had the ability and structure within my life to wake up today and apply some of that wisdom I've been taught in the past and do some exercise, I know I would feel somewhat better. But really, the way I exercise is that I require a bit of space in my life. I require a bit of removal of a pressure to exercise. It's almost like a need to exercise. It's not a need to exercise. It's you exercise because it's just you love exercising. We talk about the releasing of endorphins. Forget about endorphins. It's all mental for me. I haven't exercised. I was exercising on and off about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I was keeping it in there and thereabouts check with very little exercise, but it was very, very specific. And to know that what my body has turned into now is totally ill to what I am aware of in terms of the exercise that I've been gifted by my uncle, Qi Gong, and the knowledge of posture and everything. And it's the awareness that the way my body moves at the moment, the way the bones, the muscles have all changed, it's just totally wrong. And forget about a feeling, forget about endorphins. It's to know on a mental level that my body is in a state of health. And really, the way I go about exercising, and I do half blame my uncle for it. And I know life isn't just cut and shut, black and white, what it seems from the external, especially when you're going down the spiritual road. And my uncle has given me many lessons hidden within the exercise that he's passed on to me in terms of wisdom. And some of it is a case of when to exercise, because my uncle used to say to me, everything is mind. In other words, really in simplicity, unlimited potential right now as a species. Therefore, we've got something wrong with us. Therefore, we're not fully awake. Therefore, we're ill or sick on some level. And in that place, addiction, really know myself in relationship to it, because with exercise, it's a case of why? Why do you exercise? And it's a long journey. And really, when you start seeing those things, it opens up space. It's almost like that old game Minesweeper on Windows, where you click it. I don't know if anybody ever played it. It's numbers. You click it. What I'm saying is it's helping me to see the reality of life. And in this place now, this is why, to a large degree, I haven't exercised, because to myself, I know if it was just my life, if it was just me, I'd have exercised on a daily basis a long time ago and kept it going. But the manner in which my uncle has taught me exercise and how to apply it in terms of what we just discussed, I'm able to see that it's not me that's stopping me. I'm able to see that there's influence. I'm able to see that it's almost like I've got something on me that wants to play a game with exercise. And I'm like, well, what do you mean play a game with exercise? Isn't it just about keeping healthy? What more is there about? Given this gift of exercise, and real true exercise where you can create a state of health and knowing within yourself, and you're because it's opened up a picture of something more. What's happened with me, the more conscious I've become in terms of the reward of spirituality, the more conscious you become, the more you're able to see yourself, and the more you are able to see yourself, the more you can acknowledge how much pain you're in the first instance. And that's really where I'm at. I see the physical pain. I'm in like never before. And the thing is, it's hard to say, but I see the physical pain that we're all in like never before. And for whatever reason, you're not able to see your own physical pain. And I'm looking at my life right now and I'm like, just 6 months ago, I could have got up and got on, you know, I could have had a good day today. But because I know, and this is a recent awareness that's come to me as I've done the work, how much pain I'm in, how uncomfortable life is, how wrong it is, it creates the reality of that is terror. And I see myself in a lot better position than a lot of people. And a lot of people are able to function. So in other words, if I'd have gone down that other path of becoming a designer, the conventional route, I'd still be functioning right now, where I'm in sheer terror at the moment. And in this place of terror, I'm still applying what wisdom, and it's very, very how can I put it? It's very, very on a thread almost. What I'm having to use to get me up and keep me alive and keep me functioning in this world. It's not like, it's a bit like reading the Tao Te Ching. Use the space within the room, you know. Can you wait until your muddy water's clear? Blah, blah, blah. It's all a bit unclear, you know. It's not like listening to someone who's really been another teacher of mine at a distance, John D. Martini, who puts it in a very more practical approach to find any meaning, to find any reason to get up each day, to get up despite the terror and me knowing physical pain.